Well, welcome along board, ladies and gentlemen, to the fastest concrete mile in the United States of America. It's the Dryden Atlantic 400 from the Dover Motor Speedway. The round number 10 of the Stock Car World Cup 5 campaign takes us to one of the craziest racetracks that we go to. The speeds are high, the tires always somehow dig like absolute madness here. We've seen surprise winners in the past. It's a racetrack that really contests the limits of the drivers, the crew chiefs, and everything in between here, and one of the wildest races that we have on the calendar here. And speaking of wild, this championship is getting tighter by the race weekend. As you see on your screen, Ludovic Charette holds a 1-point lead over teammate Matt Tuck, a 6-point lead over Shane Van Gisbergen, a 19-point lead over Pato O'Ward, a 56-point lead over Cam Waters. Connor Zilich is 76 back. Joseph Newgarden is 80 points back. David Malukas is now cracked into the top 8. He's 100 points back. Folks, that is 8 drivers in points are separated by a race. And to make it more exciting, Tuck, Charette, Van Gisbergen, Waters, Zilich are all starting 18th or worse here today. Pato O'Ward is starting way out in the back of this field. We have some new players up at the front. As you can see on your screen, Nathan Smith, the driver who just signed with Red Bull Verstappen Racing before Rockingham for next season, alongside of his future teammate. These Toyotas and BMWs are really showing strong the past couple of weeks with a lot of updates to these teams. And you can also see here in the constructors is a lot of these teams are trying desperately to chase down Grattan Autosport. Grattan Autosport did jump back into the lead post Rockingham due to the poor result from Action Express Racing Shane Van Gisbergen. And RFK Racing has jumped into the second position. United Autosport is up to 4th with some strong runs from Pato O'Ward the past few weeks. Penske Williams and Red Bull Verstappen, Hendrick Motorsports separated by 1 point between the 3 teams. It is very, very tight here at the top of the constructors fight, as this season is really, really starting to take its shape and get very, very chaotic here. It's been a lot of fun. I mean, we've seen some surprises the past couple of races. Matt Tuck going for back-to-back wins here at the Dover Motor Speedway. He's going to start 18th here today. I don't think he's going to have a whole ton of fun out here. Cam Waters won here before. We've seen guys win from deep in the field here, but it's going to be hard for Tuck today, I think, to go back-to-back here. Taking a look here on the front row, it's Nathan Smith for Tricon Garage in the number 17 alongside his future teammate Braden Perez. Row number 2 is going to be Christian Lundgaard and Ryan Blaney for Team Penske Williams, his best start position of the season. Row number 3 is David Malukas, who's continues his excellent qualifying run, and Kyle Larson, who's also been good in qualifying and is really starting, I think, to find some pace in the 62 car. Expect some results to start coming. Pacific Racing had a great weekend last weekend at Rockingham with the updates to their car. Row number 4 is Rotomo Miata, who continues to do well in qualifying, and inside of him is Sam Mayer. Row number 5 is Blaine Keys, who is really looking to score big here today with a lot of championship contenders starting behind him. Him and Braden Perez. Keys is 120 back. Braden is 150 back. There is a big opportunity in front of them for them to really jump into this championship fight if some of these other drivers struggle. And Logan Williams starting 9th. Red Bull Verstappen Racing looking to move their way up the pecking order in the constructors. Row number 6 is Nathan Stapleton, continues his hot streak. Outside of him, Matthew Huber, he just signed a contract with Grattan Racing Technologies and proceeds to out-qualify everybody in the Grattan Racing Technologies Alliance. Row number 7 is William Byron and Dorian Pinn. Row number 8 is Joseph Newgarden and Chase Elliott. Row number 9 is Scott McLaughlin and Matt Tuck. 1 point behind Charette in the championship. This could be significant depending how this, Charette inside, Tuck starting on the outside. There's a lot here on the line today. It's going to be very, very interesting. As we see everybody rolling off here. Again, Drew Webb stuck there inside, few rows behind him. Caleb Rose, Tyler Reddick, Denny Hamlin, Stuart Grattan, Ludovic Charette, Connor Zilich, Pato O'Ward, Shane Van Gisbergen. It is going to be very, very high stakes in the back of this field today as we see of these drivers who are in the championship hunt who are going to try and find their way to get back into the front of this field and limit the damage that Newgarden, Malukas, Webb, Keys, Perez could do. 100 laps, expect a one-stop race, but expect the unexpected. This is Dover Motor Speedway. We saw last year Matt Tuck just walked into a win when the pit strategy went wild. We see Scott Dixon, Cam Waters have won here before. So anything can happen here at Dover Motor Speedway, but the future teammates, they're lined up here on the front row. Nathan Smith, for the first time ever in Stock Car World Cup, is going to lead us to the green. Let's go racing in the Dryden Atlantic 400. Oh, already we're 3 wide on the opening lap. Huber's going to chop the nose off of the 28 of Elliott. Blaney did not have a good start there. He's 3. He got put to the outside. It's 3 wide. David Malukas had a great start, 5th to 3rd before they were even on the back straightaway. And it's Smith, Perez, Malukas. 3 of the young rising potential superstars in this series. Smith has been excellent this year and is looking to get some results to back it up. Lundgaard Mayer's up a few spots. Logan Williams is up a few spots. Larson's holding in there. Stapleton. Matthew Huber is battling in the top 10 in that Nissan. This is an awesome run for him, but here comes little Dave to the inside of Braden Perez as he goes side by side with that BMW. These BMWs have been bringing a ton of updates lately as Max Verstappen's team is trying to build a very, very competitive race car that can take into these Grattan Autosport Mustangs, and they're doing it so far. See Drew Webb's moving his way on the bottom. Caleb Rowe, Scott McLaughlin. Blaney continues to go backwards. Nicholas Samadio in the Audi. These cars are starting to, the Outer Island Motorsport cars are starting to look faster these past couple of races. Got Reddick, Rose, Keys. Below, Van Gisbergen is moving his way past both of the Grattan Autosport cars. Of the points leaders of Tuck and Charette are both stuck on the outside. Paddles on the inside behind them, but this is not good for Charette and Tuck. Having Van Gisbergen move his way through the field, they need to get to the bottom of the racetrack and quickly. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Logan Williams blows a motor. He was flying through the field, already up to 6th position. And now if you're Braden Perez, you have to be kind of nervous. You gotta be nervous if you're Perez. We miss a pass for the lead again. Here goes David Malukas to the inside of Nathan Smith. A good start for Smith, but Malukas, who just signed a deal with Team Velocistar for the season 6 World Cup calendar. He signed one with Team 29 United, and then Matt Tuck paid a huge sum of money to be able to. But oh my goodness, almost 3 wide. Lundgaard stuck on the outside. Perez gets by his future teammate. Got 2 Pacific cars. The Pacific teammates of Lundgaard and Kyle Larson have outperformed Caleb Rose dramatically the past few weekends. It's quite shocking. I mean, this is an unbelievable top 10. We expect to see Malukas and Perez up here. Lundgaard, Mayer, Stapleton, Huber. Stapleton, by the way, came off his couch to replace Jesse Love. Matthew Huber is up here in 8th. Chase Elliott. Ryan Blaney settled back into 10th. Miata, Samadio, Webb, Reddick, Keys, Rose. Van Gisbergen's already up to 17th, and I don't know where the rest of these Grattan cars are. Oh boy, oh boy, oh. Oh. Well, this is gonna... Folks, if you want to swing the championship pendulum back in another direction, have Cam Waters, Ludovic Charette, and Matt Tuck, 1st, 2nd, and 5th in points, be 41st, 42nd, and 39th at the moment as we run. This is a disaster for Grattan Autosport, as Shane Van Gisbergen continues to slide his way through the field. Elliott gets to the inside of Larson, takes Blaney with him. Huber's moving his way through the field. I mean, that one car has got, surprisingly, I don't know where it's come from, but this one car, Matthew Huber, got a little extra kick in his step this weekend. Team Impol likely not going to be on the grid next year, but Matthew Huber is. He signed a deal with Grattan Racing Technologies, so he will be driving a Mustang somewhere. If that's RFK, if that's Team 29, I don't know where yet, but he will be driving a Mustang somewhere. Lucas just continues to check out here. 1.17 seconds. You see, it's just about a tenth or so faster a lap. Had a good car at Rockingham, but the strategy calls just didn't work out his way. Still got a podium out of it. I mean, again, he's got 5 top 10s on the year, 3 top 5s. He's led a bunch of laps. He has a very good average starting position. Currently leads the entire series with a 9.22 starting position. So 3 pole positions to his name. I think Malukas is a guy who, you know, he really, I think, could contend, throw his way back into this championship. I think him and Braden Perez, depending on how this race goes out here today, they should both gain a lot on Van Gisbergen. He's up to 17th, but he got by, Van Gisbergen got by a lot of the cars that he's supposed to. He got by Davis, Heim, Kirkwood, Troxel, Hamlin. He got by some of these guys he's supposed to. Pato O'Ward has moved his way up through the field. This is a disaster for the 54, the 51, the 23. Grattan Autosport absolutely bottoming out here at Dover. Cam Waters has won here before, but this is a disaster for Grattan Autosport to not be able to be in contention right now at a track that we expected them to be. I mean, they've missed the mark here on all all 4 of their cars, because it's not like Drew Webb is doing anything special either. He's only up in about 13th, so he's having a better day than the rest of his teammates, but Nathan Smith losing some spots. I think you still got to be happy if you're Smith, even if you don't, probably not going to get the win, but a pole position is a huge accomplishment for this young driver. And he got to lead the opening couple of laps. I think it was like one of the only times he's led outside of Armory Digital up in Seattle, so this is a really cool moment for Nathan Smith, and I expect big things out of him next year as he joins Verstappen Red Bull, or Red Bull Verstappen, to drive that number 63 alongside of Perez and Williams. That is such a tough break for Logan Williams. He was flying, and then you see there a clutch went on that 33. So now you kind of start, I mean, you're still sweating a little bit, I think, if you're Braden Perez, because if Logan Williams' car went that fast, there's no guarantee yours can either. Christian Lundgaard, who's been amazing the past 2 weeks, he's hanging out there in 3rd. Sam Mayer in 4th, Nathan Stapleton in 5th. Enes Ganassi, they got rid of Jesse Love. Nathan Stapleton got off his couch, and he's been unbelievable. He has been absolutely unbelievable for this squad. He's already up to 32nd in points. He's ahead of William Sawalich, Mick Schumacher, Denny Hamlin, Thomas Troxel, Christian Lundgaard, Nathan Smith, Jack Haas, Nicholas Samadillo, and Matthew Huber. He's only ran 5 races. I don't. What else do you want me to say? Like, what do you want me to say here? Stapleton, couple career wins to his name. Never really was a championship contender, but always was a guy that you knew could get the job done, and he is showing that here. We're gonna follow this the rest of the race, because this is a train wreck for Grattan Autosport here today. To make it worse, I mean, they just took 1-2 control of the championship last weekend at Rockingham. And now you're hanging out in the back of the pack. They took control of both championships, finally. And now they're hanging out in the back of the pack here at Dover. I mean, you get a caution, anything can happen here. You know, this is a wild, wild racetrack, and we've seen crazy things happen. But you also got to be careful, because that's Tuck crossing the line. That's Malukas in the center of 3 and 4. Malukas is going to be lapping these Grattan Autosport cars sooner rather than later if they don't figure out something on that next pit stop. Pato stalled up at 27. Van Gisbergen. Now, Nathan Smith has fallen into the clutches of Miata, Samadillo. Larson's got by. I don't know if that's 17. He might have burned his tires off. He just looks like he's really struggling here right now. Maybe they set that car up to hot lap. I mean, Ritomo Miata's now in the top 10. It's a great run for him. Sam Mayer, 19th in points. Not had a great year so far, but he's solid. He's had a solid year. They are expecting him to return to the grid next year. Chase Elliott is 18th in points, 2 top 10s to his name. Again, not a bad year. Not what we expected for a guy who I think had 14 top 10s last year. It was quietly consistent, you know, but it just hasn't. You know, if we pull up the World Cup 4 stats, I mean, yeah, Chase Elliott had 14 top 10s last year. It's kind of been a little bit of a letdown. Been a little bit of a letdown for him this year. Drew Webb up to 12th, Van Gisbergen up to 13th. Van Gisbergen's probably going to walk out of this race. Right after he loses the point lead, he's going to probably walk out of this race with the point lead back by a nice little cushion, depending how the rest of this race plays out. Ooh, here's an opportunity for Pato. Side by side with a couple cars here. Schumacher, Davis, and McLaughlin stuck on the outside. Oh, that's an issue for Leah Block in the 06. That's not good. Had a tire issue there on the 06, so that's no good. I mean, Van Gisbergen, this is the kind of rebounding stuff you needed to do after that disaster last week. By the way, Drew Webb is going to drive his way into this championship hunt here. You know, if these results hold, he's going to drive his way into this title fight. He was only 102 back of Tuck and Charette entering the day, and they're hanging out in the back, and he still has room to move up through this field. I don't know if he could catch. This is where it's going to get interesting, is I don't know how much you're going to need to catch Malukas and Perez, who have really checked out from this field. So is Lundgaard, by the way. He's starting to pull away now. Stapleton, I think, is going to get to the inside of his driver. Mayer's not going to fight him, although it's going to open the door for Elliott to get by. See, I think the 51 and the 54 are going to start moving their way through the field here. I mean, Malukas is entering turn 3. The 54 is coming off of turn 4. So I think it's go time here for the 51 and the 54. They have got to start moving their way through the field, or they are not going to have... it's going to get very miserable for them in this championship hunt. Miata's up. Ritomo Miata's up to 9th. Toyota's having a very strong day. Ooh, SVG got by a couple of these guys, but he might get overtaken right back here. Stuck on the outside behind Huber. Oh, gets to the bottom. Oh, hello. I see some tire marks up there on the top of the racetrack. I'm not sure who did it. But somebody got into an accident, it seems. Maybe it was Leah Block. I don't see any damage. Now the fun part about this race is, as you guys can see, we're over 2 seconds of tire fall off in almost all these cars. It's going to be 3 to 4 seconds by the time this run is over. If you get the undercut here and time this right, you can gain so much time. And that's probably the only thing that's saving the 54 and the 51 here. Is we've seen all year, their strategies have just been a little bit better. And case in point, a guy whose strategies have not been good, I shouldn't say not been good, aggressive but haven't panned out, is David Malukas and this 21 team. They've had some very aggressive strategies. Oh no, that's gonna be, oh, that's Pato O'Ward. Oh no. Well, that's gonna change the course of this race just a little. Oh, that just changed the race, folks. Oh, and Larson was involved? Oh, no. Oh, there's an engine problem on the 62. He was having a good day. Oh, no. Why are all of the lap cars coming down pit road? That is so strange. Alright, I'm not sure why all those cars are coming down pit road already, but this is going to get a little bit dicey here. So you're going to need another stop to make it to the end of this race, I believe. You're not going to be able to make this on one stop. So this is going to get very, very interesting. We got Malukas, Perez, Lundgaard. We'll definitely need to do some wave around business. This is kind of chaotic here for these guys who are trying to come into pit road and make their scheduled stop. Oh, that's not going to be good for Nathan Smith. Almost got into a collision there with David Malukas. Lundgaard jumps Perez. Perez is going to lose a couple spots here. Van Gisbergen should gain some spots. Sam Medeo. Blaney's going to drop some spots. Alright, so we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to get the replay. Oh, Nathan Smith, a slow stop for the 17 team. So, we're going to take a quick break here. I believe it's David Malukas is the leader. We got to wave all these cars around here. And then we will come back here with the restart and get you guys back racing here in the Dryden Atlantic 400. We'll watch Block go down into the corner and watch Pato go up the corner. Oh, that's not good. Almost was a much bigger accident there. Block gets into the back of Pato, and he goes for a ride up the track. And that's going to change the outcome of this race a little bit, because we are now going to get a pit cycle under the safety car and not under green flag stop. Well, we're going to restart. It'll be lap 39 of 100. This is going to make the final run. You're probably going to see guys pit about lap 95. This is going to be a stretch it till the end type deal. And it's one of the wildest top 10s, I mean, we've seen in a moment. David Malukas is a guy you expect to see up front. Christian Lundgaard, I don't know what he's gotten into the past 2 weeks, but he's been flying. Again, Nathan Stapleton came off his couch and has been outstanding. Chase Elliott, haven't seen a whole lot of him up front all season. Perez lost some time on that stop, but he has one of the fastest cars. I think he has a faster car than at least 2 of the 3. In between Malukas, watch out for Stapleton. He might have the fastest car here. Sam Mayer, Van Gisbergen clutching up here today to put the pressure on Charette and Tuck. Sam Medeo, those Audis look like they're finally starting to come together. Drew Webb carrying the team. Ritomo Miata. Points leaders hanging out in the back of the pack today. I don't know. Can this caution save them? Can a restart help them out? Let's find out. It's lap 39 of 100, almost halfway home here in the Atlantic 400. And it's a good restart from Malukas, followed by Lundgaard. Everybody staying single file here for the most part. Nobody stepping out of line just yet. Who is going to be the first one to make a move and start trying to push the envelope? Kirkwood, Heim, Rokel, Dorn, Davis. I mean, if you are Charette, there goes Charette, Tuck, Waters moving their way through the field. You got to step up now and start making some moves happen while these tires are fresh, because this is going to get really, really hard to make a move. Malukas is pulling away from Lundgaard, and I think Lundgaard's about to get short track freight trained here. Because here comes Stapleton. Elliott gets stuck on the outside. Stapleton going to try clear Lundgaard as fast as he can to see if he can go chase after that 21 who's just pulling away as we speak. Here comes Van Gisbergen now stuck on the outside. Sam Medeo and Webb are going to get underneath him. There goes Stapleton. There goes Perez. It's already almost a second lead here for David Malukas as he continues to pull away. And now Van Gisbergen is stuck on that outside. He's got Miata. He's got Webb. Sam Medeo's going by. Newgarden is going to put the pressure. Sam Medeo's going to get stuck on the outside now. Yeah, Malukas just checked out a second lead in 3 laps. He's absolutely flying away from this field here today, having one of the fastest cars of his life. Sam Mayer, 2 NS Ganassi cars are up here now fighting for this podium spot. This is a strong showing from a team that's really, really struggled here this season. Van Gisbergen gets back around Webb. You take a look here through the back of the pack. Tuck and Charette are starting to slowly work their way up through the field, but they have a long way to go. You got to be careful here not to wreck with some of these cars in the back of the field if you're the 54. But they are moving their way through the field, so they're moving. I wouldn't call it moving their way through the field because they're still hanging out in the back of the field. But here comes Perez to the inside of Stapleton. He's got to make this move very, very quickly if he wants to have a shot to go up there and battle David Malukas to have a shot at this win here today. And he gets by Stapleton fairly quickly. So now it's Perez. Can he go chase down David Malukas? He's going to need to put some distance in between him and Stapleton kind of quickly, because we saw as that run went on that 0-2 did get a little bit better as the run went on. But, I mean, we'll see. Malukas' car is just hooked up here today, though. Gap started to come down just a little bit that lap, but it takes more than one lap for Perez to catch back up. I think Van Gisbergen and Webb are going to go absolutely at it. And constructors-wise, this is important for Webb to see if he can displace Action Express. Again, you get the points for your average finish as a team, and then you get the points for which team has the highest finisher. So every little point counts in this constructors fight, especially with how much the 54 and the 51 have struggled here today. Charrette's finally broken into the top 30. Hooray, as she would say. Not a good day here at all for Grattan Autosport. We're going to study this day for a while, I feel like, because they have just been awful here today. The Hondas continue to struggle this year, too. I think we thought this would finally be the year the Hondas brought some big-time pace, and it just hasn't panned out for them yet. Gap stabilizing at about 1.5, 1.6 seconds between Perez and Malukas. But Perez is starting to gap Stapleton and Mayer, which is good for him. He needs to be able to build himself a bit of a gap here if he wants to have a shot potentially later in the race. Again, I think we're going to see another round of pit stops, which if we're going to see another round of pit stops, you know, it's going to make this a little interesting, you know what I'm saying? By the way, heading into this race, David Malukas had already led 82 laps on the season. I think he's led about 45 laps here today, because he took the lead from Nathan Smith, and he hasn't lost it. So he's probably going to be leading the series. He's got a shot to be at 160 laps led potentially at the end of this race here today. It's been a monster effort. It's been a great campaign from this 21 driver so far. The American superstar really coming into his own this season. Perez is just chipping away slowly, though, slowly but surely. And this has kind of been Braden's MO the past few seasons, you know. It doesn't always end up in the most dominating fashion. He can lead laps in bunches, but he's really a nick and knack, or a dink and dack. I'm sorry, Braden. But he really just likes to chip away at it, you know. Always put himself in the right position to capitalize. Doesn't always have a lot of dominant cars, but he always finds his way up there. Again, this is a guy who's one of the only statistical categories Ludovic Charette doesn't lead the series in is all-time top 10s. I mean, that's Braden Perez. He leads the series all-time in top 10s. Always finds his way up there. You know, whether it was in the 50 for Tricon, the 62 for Pacific, the past few seasons at Verstappen Red Bull, or the 50. Was it the 50? No, it was the 15. It was the 62, the 50, the 15. And then it's been here at Verstappen Red Bull. And it's been a really, really good pair in here. They brought in Logan Williams in the off-season. And as we're saying this is starting to get really tight here. So we got Mayer got by Stapleton, and so did Elliott. Lundgaard, Van Gisbergen, Reddick, Webb, Blaney, Rose are all in the picture. Caleb Rose is up here now. So where Kyle Larson struggles, engine issue on the 62, ended up biting him. Caleb Rose is stepping up here to the plate. Pacific Racing, once again, 2 cars up here battling for the top 10. Van Gisbergen's going for 6. Keys, Newgarden, 2 drivers looking to capitalize on the points disposition of our point leaders. Charette is moving her way through the field. She's up to 25th, so at the very least, it's a good comeback drive. It's a good comeback from the 51. Canadian works her way through the field. Van Gisbergen gets by Lundgaard. This is going to be a big shift back in the points. It's going to be a big shift back in SVG's favor depending on how the outcome of this race goes. It's going to be a big shift, I think, in Braden Perez's favor if he can actually close this out. Was so close at South Boston. I think he had a shot to win that race. Let me phrase that. He did. And then Chase Harris went up and over, took him out. Had a good run at Rockingham. It feels like he's had a lot of good runs this year, and there's always something that seems like it stops his way, but 23.64, 23.60. They're just hundreds are between these two today. Lundgaard starting to get freight train. SVG moving his way up to the field. Keys to the inside of Newgarden. Newgarden should still gain some ground in the points. It's going to be interesting because SVG has rebounded so nicely here today. That big shift that we thought might open this up, if he finished out back where Charette and Tuck are running, it might not happen as dramatically as we were thinking. Miss Charette continues to mow her way through some of this field, up to 25th. Got Smith, Byron, Herta, and Huber up in front of her, so she's definitely got more room to go. But now, Malukas is going to catch Leah Block in the next 10 laps, I think. And Perez, if he just keeps chipping away at this, he might catch David Malukas before David Malukas catches Leah Block, which that could be significant if this 21 catches the 06 before the 69, because he needs that lap car to help slow up Perez. I mean, these two have checked out. Such an interesting top 10 we have unfolding here. All those championship contenders starting at the back of the field. They've had to work their way through the field, and it's given the opportunity again for some of these guys we don't see up front as much. Sam Mayer, Chase Elliott. I have a feeling we're going to see Nathan Stapleton win a race before the year is over. Tyler Reddick really hasn't had a good run. He had back-to-back top fives and hasn't done anything other than that this year. Alex Below is up here. Very likely his final season in Stock Car World Cup. Newgarden's working his way. Nicholas Samadillo, not had a good season at this point, but I think the tide is turning for Samadillo. Hasn't gotten a top 10 yet, but There's only, hasn't Otter Island Motorsports gotten a top 10 this season? Otter Island Motorsport hasn't gotten a top 10 this season. It has not been a good year for them. But I think the pace is coming back with these cars. I think you're seeing that with Samadillo the past couple races. There's clearly something there for them, so there's clearly something there for Otter Island Motorsport, and I think over these next couple of weeks, even if it's not perfect and you know you're going to struggle this year, I think they still have the potential to dig this team out of the hole and get those two drivers who are definitely more capable than what the equipment is showing. I mean, again, he's up here, but he's fighting Caleb Rose, Joseph Newgarden. There's clearly potential in that race car. And I think Otter Island Motorsports maybe just a few updates away from unlocking it. The Dodges brought some updates this weekend. It's panned out for Keys and Ryan Blaney. Max Davis just hasn't had the track position all race. He's currently mired in 38th. Tough day for him. Kind of an up and down season for Davis. But I mean, Matt Tuck is second in points, and he's fighting Chase Harris for 30th. Cam Waters is 5th in points, so I mean, you can't knock Davis too much. All right, this is where it's going to get interesting. How quickly can Malukas dispatch Aaliyah Block? Not quick enough. Not quick enough, because here comes Braden Perez. You can see him flying into the frame. Malukas is going to get to the bottom of the 06, but that may be took him a little too long to get that move done, because half a second closed in that time was Braden Perez. Oh, he's going to find this 06 in the center of the corner, though. That's not going to help him. He's going to need to get to the inside of her, down the front straightaway. Now, he did dispatch of Leah Block a lot quicker there. So Perez got to the inside of Block much, much quicker than Malukas did. And now this is where the race could be won or lost. Is this herd of lap cars coming up? Haas, Davis, Pato, Schumacher, Chadwick. Gap that time, 0.8 of a second, so that lap car Leah Block helped Braden Perez a lot, and it did not help David Malukas. Mayer and Elliott Stapleton. Stapleton got back by Van Gisbergen. You got 2 Dodges up here. This is a good day for, despite the struggles that Davis has had, this is still going to be a good day for Penske Williams. And a strong showing for these updates that they have brought to the car. You know, we'll head to Talladega, Montreal, and then the Carolina 600, which will be our next race back on AG, the channel. That, I have a feeling that Carolina 600 race at Charlotte is going to be one of the races of the season. The way it's shaping up, with the way these updates are coming down the pipeline for a lot of these cars, the championship stakes that we're going to see. I mean, again, we've seen the championship points swing hundreds across the board the past few races, between Colorado, South Boston, and that wild outcome at Rockingham with Van Gisbergen struggling. Well, now it's Tuck struggling, and Van Gisbergen's in the top 6. So, folks, when we see you guys in a few weeks at Charlotte Motor Speedway on AG, the channel, I think we're in for. Can't hype things up too soon, but I think that has some race of the season potential coming up on deck in a couple of weeks' time. The stakes are going to be insanely high, and it's going to be a lot of fun under the Charlotte Motor Speedway nights. Eight-tenths is the gap for Perez and Malukas. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Everyone's pitting. Everyone's pitting. So, it's kind of a short pit there. They only went about 40 laps. But that might be a good thing. Van Gisbergen's going to overcut. Keys is going to overcut. Rose is going to overcut. Is anyone else going to overcut? So, Van Gisbergen and Keys are going to overcut. Ooh, Charette. I hope she didn't speed entering pit road there. Alright, so it's Perez. Nathan Smith actually undercut. He's already down pit road, so that could be interesting to see if Smith can gain some time. Oh, Jack's about to drop on the 21. And Malukas is going to get a big jump on the 69 of Perez, so they're still close, but I think Malukas, once he merges out here, I think he's going to be ahead of the 69 of Perez by a bit. Yeah, he opened that gap up. He opened that gap up. There's just a cleaner pit stop sequence there for the 21 team. I'm not sure what the strategy was from Shane Van Gisbergen and Blaine Keys to stay out that extra lap. Nathan Smith might drive his way into the top 10 with that undercut. Caleb Rose overcut also, or he had a really bad stop. No, he overcut. Such a strange strategy call here. It might pay off for them later in the race. It might. It might. And Malukas is gone. 2.26 seconds in between him and Braden Perez. Matt Tuck is a lap down in 36. What a disaster for one of our championship leaders. Sam Mayer currently on the podium. Tyler Reddick in 5th. This is a double top 5 potentially lined up for Team 29 United. So this is going to be huge for them in the Constructors hunt. Drew Webb, only so much he can do here. The lone Grattan Autosport car not struggling today. Nathan Stapleton, Alex Below. That's 3 NS Ganassi cars in the top 10. So they're having an awesome day here at Dover. And Joseph Newgard in 10th. It's Keys in 11th. I think that's Rogal Dorth in 12th. Yes, it is. Hell of a run for him. Caleb Rose 13th. Sam Adio, Blaney, Nathan Smith, Corey Heim, Christian Lungard, Denny Hamlin, and Stuart Grattan. Kirkwood, Zilich, Pinn, Troxel, McLaughlin, Herta, Charette lost some time on that spot. She's now struggling. I mean, this is just a wild, wild outcome to this race. The race itself hasn't been that crazy. I mean, this has been the David Maluka show today. He's been firmly in control of this race. And he's definitely had a car deserving of getting himself into victory lane this year, folks. I mean, he has been rocket fast. Again, best average start in the series, 9.22. Next qualified driver who's near him is Shane Van Gisbergen with an 11.11. So he has been very, very fast this year, and he's been very deserving of getting himself in victory lane. The clock just hasn't lined up for him yet, but I think 16 laps to go here at Dover. And it's these short tracks. It's Rockingham last week. It's South Boston, Darlington. It's these slightly odd tracks that aren't traditional 1.5 mile ovals where Malukas really just always seems to stand out. And he's doing it again here today. So is Braden Perez. I mean, he always finds himself up here in the front. Van Gisbergen might have a shot to go and get by Reddick and Webb. If he does, it's not going to make the championship gain as much for Malukas and Perez, but they are still going to gain a lot in this championship fight. The door really has been open for them to get themselves into this hunt here today, and both of them drove right in and said, "Don't mind if I do." Newgarden moving his way through the field. Remember, Keys took that overcut. Keys, Rose, and Van Gisbergen took that overcut, so they might have some extra speed here late in the run. So does Shane Van Gisbergen, so we'll have to keep an eye on that delta in between him and Tyler Reddick. Again, this is pretty significant in the championship. Grattan Autosport took the Constructors' lead back last week, and SVG and Action Express Racing are going to swing it right back. Nobody thought entering the season that Action Express Racing was going to be the team, I think, that took, and Shane Van Gisbergen would be the team and the driver that took Grattan Autosport toe for toe. I mean, the United cars so far of Pato and Malukas have definitely stepped up their game. This is going to be the first time we really see Malukas close the door on a race. And the Verstappen Red Bull cars, I know Logan Williams isn't in the points position or gotten the results to back it up, but he has the pace. Perez has just been able to close out a few more results. And Ludovic Charette, David Malukas eyeing putting the championship leader a lap down here at Dover in the Dryden Atlantic 400. Wild, wild turn of events today. That's the path, two former champions that Malukas is about to potentially put a lap down here. Just a wild race here today for him. Absolute domination, one of the best drives of his career. And hey, I mean, he might be, I think Malukas is emerging as a heavy, he might not be a dark horse anymore. I think he's starting to really emerge as a guy who he can go toe for toe with these Grattan Autosport cars. You know, there's definitely been some people who've kind of wondered, does Shane Van Gisbergen have what it takes to go a whole championship fight? I mean, he's showing today he's got the potential. I mean, it's there in that car and team. We'll just see as the season goes on. Like, does Shane Van Gisbergen have enough to get the job done? I think he's got a good shot, too. Newgarden moving his way up through here. He would love to get by SVG and potentially close in some more in the championship. Blaine Keys. I mean, again, Blaine Keys is gaining huge on Ludovic Charette today. Caleb Rose came into this race 244 points back in 16th in points, but he's knocking on the door of a top 10 if he can get by Pillow and Keys. I mean, still a good day for Pacific. I know Lundgaard fell off here a little bit, but once again, 2 cars in the top 20. They had 2 cars in the top 10 at one point. If Larson didn't have that engine issue, I think we could have been looking at a different story for them today. And that final podium spot between Mayer and Elliott is starting to get a little contested here as the lap car of Davis, I think, is trying to get by Sam Mayer. To no success yet, but Byron Waters, some big names just struggled here mightily today. And this 6th position is up for grabs. SVG's caught Reddick. Again, the fresher tires, are they going to play a difference? They might not. We're going to find out. Pato starting to... Oh, Pato's a lap down. My bad. I'm sorry. Been one of those races. Perez is closing that gap to Malukas a bit. He has not been able to get by Charette. He's trying everything to find a way, but also Perez's 3-lap car is in between him, though, so it's not going to make that big of a difference here, regardless of what happens. Webb to the outside of Huber. That's not really where you want to be, my man. Huber not going to get the result he wanted, but don't be fooled. He showed a lot of pace today in that one car, in a car that doesn't have a lot of pace, I think, to give. As Malukas did get by Charette. It's the white flag for David Malukas in the Atlantic 400 in one of the most dominating races of the year. I think he's going to be credited with leading 95 laps here today. It flagged up, or just took the lead and never looked back. Held off on that restart. And out of the final turn, it's going to be David Malukas. Wins the Atlantic 400 here at Dover. Perez second. Final podium spot comes home to Sam Mayer. Webb, Reddick, Van Gisbergen, Stapleton, Newgarden, Pillow. Caleb Rose almost got a top 10 there. Got by Blaine Keys for 11th. What a race here from David Malukas. That miserable day in the championship hunt for the top 2 Grattan Autosport cars. 29th for Charette. 35th for Matt Tuck. Malukas also gets the fastest lap of the race. There was just no stopping him today, folks. There was no stopping him today. He took the lead. He never looked back. He was the best man here today and got the win that he deserved here at the Dover Motor Speedway. Again, he's had some races that have come to him, but he just hasn't been able to close the deal. So this is the first time he's really been able to close the deal on one here and score that victory. And it's going to get wild these next couple of races, folks, because the next couple of races coming up here, I mean, you've got Talladega for the Crimson Tide 499, Montreal, Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Carolina 600, and then Road America, Minnesota, the Kansas doubleheader, Monza, Richmond, Bristol, Atlanta, Pocono. The next stretch of races coming up before we head to the All-Star race at New Smyrna Speedway. Just a wild, wild race here today as far as the results in the championship. Up front, it was not wild. It was very much a David Malukas show, and he put on one of the best drives of his career. But outside the back, rest of the field, I mean, you talk about an up and down day here from some championship contenders. I mean, again, Logan Williams, 5 laps in, blows a clutch. Kyle Larson had a fast car, blew a motor. Pato Award opportunity was given to walk into the championship hunt headed into qualifying, but he did not take it. Matt Tuck, Ludovic Charette, Byron Waters, big time names struggling here today, but David Malukas comes out on top, and he's going to close in this championship hunt. So Keep an eye out for this 21 car. Van Gisbergen's going to jump back to the point lead, folks. But this fight is just beginning. It's going to be a heavyweight slugfest the rest of the way. But that does it here for us from the Dover Motor Speedway. We should see you guys next weekend, I believe, at Talladega for the Crimson Tide 499. Congratulations to David Malukas, Team 29 United, on winning the Atlantic 400. Until then, so long, everybody.
Just to watch me play, gave up who I am for who